Come on in, Cowboys Nation.
Surrounding the Dallas Cowboys from news, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. Strap up and get ready as we take you into the Dallas Cowboys universe. You're listening to the Skywalker Show podcast. Here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the Skywalker Show podcast. On the Clock Draft Show with my guy, Jeff Kavanaugh, in the building of 105.3 The Fan. What's up, bro? Man, you one of the hardest working mans in this dang business. You go straight from 5 hours right into the OTC, man. Yeah. Oh, let me get Jeff in here.
You're good now. Can't. Am I broken?
No, you're good now.
I was say, like, I can't in a 5-hour radio show talk draft the way I can talk draft when I'm just sitting here.
That's true.
Because on the terrestrial radio show, like, you're looking for mass appeal, and here I can just do whatever I want, and I can talk it forever.
That's true. And today we are going to dive into some of the cornerback prospects, which is a very, very important position for the Cowboys due to a number of different things. But like I said, man, shout out to you guys over there on G-Bag Nation 105.3 The Fan. Make sure y'all check that out on radio.com.
Oh, you were trying to hold me down? Is that what was happening early there?
Yeah.
People couldn't hear me? You were trying to sabotage me?
No. I wasn't trying to hold. No, I'm holding you down in a different way. I'm holding you down from your 105.3 The Fan.
Because I just saw people saying that they couldn't hear me, and I'm like, oh, Skywalker is trying to sabotage me. This is what he does.
I peeped. I had to click the mute. I had to get that off. My bad, y'all. That's me.
That's
on me.
The finest producer in all the land, just trying to shine without me.
Hey, we all mess up. Bro. Hey, yo, as I talked about or mentioned at the top of the show here, we're going to talk about corners, man, because if you look at it before we get to the actual draft guys, the draft prospects, if you look at the Cowboys corners, we need help. Like, we literally need bodies, you know? Cheeto's a free agent. Brown is a question mark. Lewis is a free agent. And Robinson, is he going to convert back to corner? Who knows, man? So, and we don't really have no cornerbacks with draft pedigree right now besides Diggs. So we need help, Jeff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, just think about where they are right now. And I do think Robinson will go back to corner. I think he'll go back. But, even as a guy who loves the draft, like dudes like Bradley and Reggie Robinson, who you haven't really seen, just because people liked him in the draft, you can't use that and be like, oh, Reggie Robinson could start a corner and Bradley and I could get 8 sacks if they just let him play. You can't do that. Don't do that with guys who are drafted in like the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds. Just because we liked them in college does not mean like the coaches are missing something in practice and like, oh, they'd be amazing if you just let them play. It would be great if Reggie Robinson could play his way onto the field, but we'll see. But I do think he'll move back to corner.
I sure hope so. I thought coming out, he was an interesting prospect. What was he, about 6'2"? Runs like a 4'4".
Yeah, like 6'1", 6'2", athletic dude.
Ball guy, athletic dude. I was interested, but you know, Mike Nolan. So neither here nor there. He's gone. Let's get into this, man. We're going to do it a little bit different, guys. We're going to break it down into tiers. Tier 1, 2, and 3, which are basically Jeff's 3rd-round prospect, 2nd-round prospect, 1st-round type prospects. We got a lot of names for you, so get your notepads out, get your drink, and let's kick this thing. You ready, Jeff?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right, on your tier 3, for your tier 3 3rd-round guys, you got a nice mash of people here, but I want to start with those Georgia guys, man. Tyson Campbell, which I spelled his name wrong, and Eric Stokes out of Georgia. Campbell, for me, is the one that's kind of has the big name. I'm going to need you to let me in more on Stokes. But give me and give the nation your notes here on Tyson Campbell and Eric.
So Campbell and Stokes, actually, I kind of think they're fairly similar because they're both guys that are like, they're built similar. When you're watching them play, you're like, okay, so both these guys are like, you know, the 6'1", 6'2", they can run. I think Tyson Campbell probably has a little bit better physical tools, and I actually think Eric Stokes was probably a little bit better college player. So it's kind of a player versus prospect thing, where Campbell will probably get drafted higher because it sounds like the NFL likes his length, speed, potential better. But I like them both. I just don't love either one. For Campbell, some of the things on my notes is like 6'2", but good reactive quickness, can absolutely run. Will ride receivers throughout a route without holding a flag. So like it's about the physical traits with Tyson Campbell. And Stokes is kind of the same thing, where I'm like, okay, well-built dude, no questions about his speed, awareness in cover 3, willing tackler. Not the stickiest guy at the break point. I think he can run, but I don't think he's like as athletic in terms of quickness as his teammate Campbell. But they're both good players, but to me they're both 3rd-round type players, even though they may go higher.
I was hearing that about Stokes. He's not as athletic. He doesn't seem to be athletic as Campbell. And Campbell, to me, comes off as one of those physical guys. I didn't see a ton of his tape, only like 2 games. And he was physical, but he didn't seem as fluid. Is that right? I don't know. He just doesn't seem as kind of fluid as the other guys I've seen on your second.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that's the difference between when we talk about 1st-round players, 2nd-round players, 3rd-round players. Like there are going to be some teams that the NFL has gone so far in the direction of they want tall, long, and fast. Like that's kind of what they're looking for. And I think as NFL teams, you should be willing to go the other way and be like, cool, I'm going to take all the 5'10", 5'11" guys, and I'm going to have all the Jair Alexanders, and you can have all the Kevin Kings. But, you know, NFL's different. They're wild. Different.
There's one of those 5'11" guys that I had to actually go look because I really didn't have Shakur Brown in my mental. I went to go look. I was like, oh, okay, 5 interceptions this year at 2 games where he had multiple picks, right? Quick dude, played inside and outside, but didn't play a lot of games. Started a lot of games, I should say, in his career at Michigan State. But the production is there from 2020. What you like about Shakur?
Shakur Brown, Michigan State, 5'11", 190. What I like is that he's a dog. I like guys that want to fight you all the time. So one of the first things I saw, I believe it was the Iowa game, there's a receiver that thinks he's just going to jog down the field because it's a run play, and Shakur Brown threw him all the way into literally the bench. He was like, if you think we're just going to trot around out here, it ain't happening. So, like, he's another dude that's not necessarily super, like, twitched up and quick, but he's plenty fast. He's a little grabby, but he plays like an absolute bulldog, and he can stay in the hip pocket on receivers well. The only thing that I don't love about him is, like J.C. Horn, except without the size, he's a grabby dude, but he can time up the ball when it's coming in. In his career, he's given up 1 touchdown to his 5 interceptions. So I think the one thing, like, he's super competitive, he's super physical, he's a fighter, and he can stay in the pocket and stay in phase with wide receivers. The one thing I would want from him is we got to be careful to not draw flags, because he doesn't have to, but at the top of the stop routes, he stays grabbing and then goes and gets the ball. And it's like, you don't even have to. You're here. You're good. But he's a good player.
Is that something that could be coached out of him? Maybe a little bit more confidence as he, gets going.
I think so. I think it's just the realization that, they're going to call this. Like, once you start getting called for it, I think it's like, look, you're stopping with him. You don't need to like pull yourself through. You're good. But it's part of the way he plays. It's the same as JC Horn. They're guys that are they're physical. They want to compete. They want to fight. And I guess part of being physical is grabbing and trying to get away with it. And so, yeah, you got to coach it out of him. But I like Shakur Brown. I think that's an NFL starter for sure.
In round 3, if you can get a starter in round 3 at cornerback, you're hitting. Another Big Ten guy, Greg Newsome, made the all first team Big Ten, AP All-American third team, started 18 to 21 games for Northwestern. What do you like about him? I know one thing I noticed about his stats is he got his hands on the ball a lot in regards to pass breakups. But what do you like about Greg Newsome?
Newsome. I'm going to give you the stats when you throw at Greg Newsome. Last year, he allowed 1 catch that was thrown over 10 yards downfield. He batted down 9 passes. He had a pick, so that adds up to 10, and he allowed 12 completions on the year. So 12 completions, 1 pick, 9 bat downs in 6 games. Total yardage on Newsome last year, under 100 yards in 6 games.
Wow.
And they run a lot of cover 3, so he can play a deep third, smooth mover, good feet. Again, not super twitched up and bursty, but runs well enough. As a tackler, probably got to get better, but good timing at the catch point. Watched him on some in-breaking routes where, like, he recognizes where the ball's going when it comes out of the hand. So it's like, am I going to use this hand or that hand? Am I going to have to go around this guy or underneath this guy? He's patient. He looks long. He's a good vertical player in zone. He's got ball skills. I think he plays light in the run game. Probably want him on a zone-intensive team, but long, smooth, good production, patient, in control, good player. That's a 2nd or 3rd round corner.
I was just about to say, that sounds like you're describing a 2nd round corner.
Yeah, and let me see, where did I put him? Do I have him in the 3rd right now? There's just so many corners.
Yeah,
I've got him there in the 3rd. Okay, yeah. But clearly, and you know what? These are important things to do when you read through your notes. I'm changing him and Campbell in their order right now because that's what you're supposed to do. Go back in your notes and go, holy cow, that sounds like I liked him more than where I put him.
Yeah, it sounds like you would definitely like Newsome more than Campbell. And, again, this is why I love to bring guys on that are plugged in like this because Newsome was a guy I didn't have my eye on, but Campbell was a guy I kept hearing about. Kind of like a guy who was not necessarily underrated, but under the radar. Because a lot of people were talking about him, but Newsome, I didn't hear nothing about him. He was under the radar.
Well, I think that's how it goes is you're going to get, because look, some people are ahead of other people, right?
Yeah,
there are people like my guy Dane does this year round. So like he's going to have his lists that I'm going to work off of, and that's where we're going to go. And so you're going to see certain names early that NFL teams are high on. And usually it's going to be because NFL teams a lot of times are going to draft traits over production and over play. And so people are going to like Campbell for the athletic ability and the size. And Newsome today, to me, there's no doubt he's a better player. It's a question of who's the better prospect.
Like it. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat joining us on both channels and on Twitch. Jeff is on Twitch today. He has the show popping on Twitch, man. So appreciate you guys rocking with us here on the On the Clock Draft Show. You ready for the 2nd tier round 2 guys? Because these guys, definitely the first one I'm going to bring up, I absolutely love. You ready for it?
I'm ready. Tier 2.
Let's do it, man. Tier 2. I want to start with Elijah Molden. Yeah, I brought him up on Twitter today after going in and watching a little bit more tape. Jeff, I don't like to have pet cats. I don't this early because I get attached and I want to get attached.
Too bad.
But man, I like this guy. I don't care that he's 5'10", Jeff.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. You know, I don't use that word too often, for second rounders, but this dude's a beast. And the only reason why he's probably not a first rounder is because he's 5'10", 190, and he plays in the nickel. But go ahead, man, because I like Elijah Molden.
Elijah Molden, 5'10" slot guy. My first notes are 5'10" slot guy, but he is good, and I put good in all caps. Awareness, willing to compete in the run game, plays the slot. If there's two wide receivers, he plays a down safety in the slot. He is incredibly football smart. You're going to see him, like, he is willing to – they play a lot of zone, but he is willing to leave his man because he knows what's happening and he knows where the QB wants to go. So he's a great help defender that's going to go get interceptions that way because he sees what's happening. He knows what the quarterback's trying to do, and he's going to let the quarterback take him to where he's going to go make an interception. Smart, smooth, quick, decisive, pretty good tackler, a little bit of a low tackler, but there's not a lot not to like other than he's 5'10", and they were a very zone-intensive team. So it's not a ton of like man coverage against slot guys, but I think he can do it because physically he looks like he can do it. Elijah Molden's a baller.
Hey, but the Cowboys are going to be playing some zone, right? I mean, with Dan Quinn
Oh,
coming,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's look at his stats from 2019. He was ridiculously productive, dude. 5.5 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, and 3 forced fumbles. I mean, dog.
Tough, physical, bulldog, knows where the ball's going. And he's going to end up there.
Got quick, fluid, instinctual, good playing speed, and has some snap to him when he sees it. Listen, to me, he's kind of the Jordan Lewis. Remember 2017 where Jordan Lewis went to the 3rd round, but they said if Jordan Lewis had been like 6'1" or 6 foot, he could have been a first-round guy. I'm not saying they're the same player, but the same kind of cachet where if Elijah Molden, it was 2 inches taller, dude, I think we'd be talking about him in tier 1.
And that's the problem with a lot of things, because people are going to hear you say Jordan Lewis and be like, oh, I don't want to pick him.
Yeah, no.
But you got to remember it's what he was when we were watching him coming out of college. And coming out of college, like Jordan Lewis, I thought he was a good prospect. I thought he was a really good prospect. And with the Cowboys, it hadn't gone probably the way people would want it to, but that doesn't affect what you thought of him as a prospect. So don't think I'm saying that's what he's going to turn into. Just know that it means you think highly of him.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about Aaron Robinson, the transfer from Alabama. Also went down, to the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. This guy is interesting. He played.
I love him.
Played a lot of nickel, Jeff.
Oh, that's pretty much all he played. And I love him.
He's a big dude.
And so he looks really big on tape, doesn't he? Like he looks like a big guy. He's 5'11".
Oh, is he?
Yeah. And on tape, like that's what I thought too. I thought he was like a 6'1", 200-pound dude because that's how he plays.
Well, you know how colleges be lying. So they got him listed as 6'1". I didn't even realize. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me do this. Aaron Robinson Senior Bowl measurements, because they measure him at the Senior Bowl, and I bet that's where I got his 5'11".
I'm pretty sure because they don't lie at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, because they're actually going to measure you. So Aaron Robinson, hold on, I'm gonna give this to you. Boop. Aaron Robinson, 5'11", 4, so 5'11 and a half, 190.
Okay, that makes sense.
And not long arms, but I just love how physical and angry he is. Like he'll step in and look like a linebacker when he's got to meet a running back in the hole. He's offended if a wide receiver gets off the line on him. He's not the best true cover guy. In terms of like, oh, can he play off coverage and do this and match the route? I don't really know. But what he wants to do is he wants to get in your face, and you're going to hate it trying to get off the line of scrimmage against him all day.
Oof.
He can get across the field in a hurry on drag routes. He plays like he has long arms. He only measured with 30-inch arms, so I need to delete that because he doesn't have long arms. But because like when he tackles, it looks physical. Like it looks like it hurts. He'll kind of just sit there and chase, but he's got the athletic gifts. He's got the long speed. He tackles with force. I love the way he plays. I'm a big Robinson fan.
Do you have him above Molden?
I do not.
At this moment. Okay. What about this popular name here? Asante Samuel Jr. Another 5'10", 185, 190-ish guy. Flexible guy, right? Some people, you look at his size, you be like, oh, he's a slot guy. Shit, he played a lot of perimeter for Florida State for a 5'10" cat. So, do you view him out there, and kind of give us your breakdown on Asante Samuel Jr.?
Asante Samuel, like my thing about short corners is I don't care. Like
Right.
off the top, I don't care. It's until I start writing down where it hurts him. And if it hurts him, it's like, okay, now it's a problem. And for Asante Samuel, it wasn't until I think the third game of his I watched, and it was Clemson, and they literally threw 2 jump balls on him to start the game. They were both complete, and they took Samuel off the field for a minute. So that hurts. And I do think that most teams are going to view him as a nickel, and I think that's where I would play him. But, he's like his dad was, Asante Samuel, undersized, and he's going to have a 10 or 12-year career, and he's going to start, and he's going to be really, really good, because I think that you can tell he's been raised for this. He's so good. He's a great athlete. He's super fluid. He always knows what's going on. No matter what defense you call, he's going to do his job and probably help somebody else do theirs. Asante Samuel he's so good. He's just 5'10". Does
his run defense, I don't want to call it ability, but because it's not that great, does that concern you if he's going to play in the slot?
Not necessarily, because to your point, I would say he's not a great tackler, but he's also not afraid of it at all. Like
he's willing.
Yes, like he's not shying from contact. So I would think that you can make it. Is a good point though. Like I don't think he's a great tackler right now. And gosh, so many of my notes are about how good he is outside, like cutting off routes and so, I mean, crap, maybe you're talking me into playing him outside. But either way, I'm comfortable picking him in the second round.
I like him out there. Here's the thing we always have to think about, right? If we're just talking about the prospect in general, we can talk about all the things he can do. But if we're talking about the Cowboys, right, is Dan Quinn going to put a 5'10" guy outside? That's the problem.
Yeah. I'll guess no. But I don't know. I mean, I know that like even Will McClay, it's not so much about height as it is length. So they're kind of into the arm length thing. So I can probably forget about Aaron Robinson. A lot of teams are going to say immediately 5'10", you're playing the slot, and the Cowboys might be one of them, especially if they are going to run a bunch of cover 3.
When did we get here, Jeff? Where everybody has to be 6'1", 6'2" at corner?
I don't know, and I don't like it, and I don't agree with it. Because, yes, there are tall receivers in the league that are really, really good. Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson. Like, there's a lot of tall receivers. Mike Evans. There's a bunch of tall receivers that are really good. But you also have to cover Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill and a bunch of dudes that are 5'10", 5'11", 5'9". Like, you line up with a bunch of 6'3" corners, and most NFL teams, you're effed. Because you can't cover their route runners.
Right.
So, that's why I'm like, man, I don't care how tall you are. Just be really good.
Well, the theme of tonight is the height, right? And this guy here now, I know we just dogged on all the tall people, but is it Ifatu? Elefanu?
Yeah, I mean, you just take a shot at it. Obi's brother.
Obi's brother. I was just about to say,
brother.
Obi's little bro.
Yeah.
Who I'm reading the tea leaves, loves football more than his brother did, so that's a good thing. So let's not try to compare that. Only thing you can really compare is that they're ridiculously athletic. But how you like Obi? He to me screams that prototypical Dan Quinn cover 3 cornerback.
Yeah, could totally see it. Could totally see Melifonwu as a Cowboy. Just a matter of where he gets picked, because I see some people that are talking about like you could take him in the top half of the first round, and I don't see that. But he's got a great blend of speed and size. I mean, you're talking 6'2", 212, long arms. And I think for that size, he moves well. I won't say that for just corner in general, he moves great, but for that size, he's definitely very athletic. He can play a ball in the air. Like, there's a lot of things he does well. The only thing I didn't love is Amari Rodgers in space. Like, I'm watching the Clemson game.
Yep.
And what worries me about Melifonwu a little bit is it's really the tackling, because he's so big and he tries to tackle up high. So like 6'2" guy trying to wrap you up here, it just leads to dudes running through his tackles and they keep going. So I don't think he's a good tackler, and I don't think for as big and strong as he is that he necessarily plays that way. Like, you should be throwing receivers on the ground in the run game. You should be, but he's more kind of using his athleticism. So his tools are good enough that he could go in the first round. But to me, he's a step behind the first round guys.
So if he dominates his pro day, could he have a Byron Jones type of meteor rise, which really not much of a meteor, but hop in the first round because he runs a 4.3 or something?
He could, and but I think he's going to have a really good pro day. To me, it would hurt him if he didn't.
Yeah,
it won't. I won't move him up. That's what we call counting it twice. If he tests, if your notes say this dude's super athletic, and then he tests super athletic, and you're like, oh man, I need to move him up. I'm like, no, that's already in your notes. You already have that.
True. It's smart. Let me ask you something about him. You watched him. Did you see his athleticism show on the jump balls or on the deep balls or what have you, getting his hands on them? I didn't necessarily watch enough to notice that. I wondered if you did.
I've seen it. I mean, I have it in my notes. What did I do? North Carolina, Clemson, and I don't know what the third game was.
KMT called him a Chris Westry Jr. No, he's not that. Chris Westry's super thin.
No, Chris Westry was literally, was he drafted or UDFA? But either
Undrafted.
way, okay, but he was picked up literally because he was 6'4" and ran a 4.3. Like it was nothing else matters. Yeah. Melifonwu is a good football player. Yeah. I'd have to go back and look. I don't have a lot of notes on specifically like high ball plays, but I would imagine that he better be able to do that.
That's what I want to see, because there's a cat, I think he's in South Carolina, like 6'4". And
the other, not Horn, but the other guy.
The other guy. And I was watching. I was like, okay, if you 6'4", like I want to see you on jump balls. I want to see when the ball's thrown deep. I want to see you get your hands on it. I didn't see enough, but we got to talk about him maybe on another show. But yeah. So if you're 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and you're supposed to be athletic, I just got to see it deep down, because they're going to take shots at you, especially as a young corner.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Are you ready for your tier 1 guys?
All right, tier 1. Let's go.
And I'm going to jump in right into the new kid on the block, essentially, because you guys are loving this cat, man. Kelvin Joseph, LSU transfer, out of Kentucky right now. Well, coming out of 2020, led the SEC interceptions this year. I actually discovered him through you the other day, and I said, let me go look him up. And you was like, hey, Sky, move him up to tier 2. Matter of fact, move him up to tier 1. And
I kept watching. Because somebody was like, hey, watch the Auburn game if you're in love with him. It's terrible. And I watched the Auburn game, and I'm like, wait, because Seth Williams caught one fade on him where he didn't get his head around. Kelvin Joseph, Kentucky. He's listed 6'1", 192. I haven't seen him measured yet, and I'm guessing he's not going to be 6'1". I bet he's I bet he's 6 foot. Okay. But gosh, they run cover 3, they run man, they run what the Cowboys are going to run most likely. And I'm watching him mirroring wide receiver releases, and he's always in control. His feet are patient. I watched his teammate get a pick, because the one thing I wasn't sure, I was like, how fast is he? And then I watched a teammate of his get a pick at the line of scrimmage, and he comes running from like 30 yards back, and he's the fastest guy on the field. So I'm like, okay, so he can run. I'm watching him reroute guys in cover 2, play his third in cover 3, and bait quarterbacks where he's got to turn his head, cover ground, and go pick it off and get his feet down on the sideline. So he's a smooth mover. He can run. His biggest weakness to me is he can't get off blocks in the run game, plays light, but like he's smart at the position. He'll use the sideline to pin wide receivers and force them out of bounds. He's willing to tackle. He's just light. He's going to find the ball. He's really, really good. I saw Kyle Pitts got him on a seam route for a touchdown because it's a perfect throw from Trask, but Kyle Pitts is going to get a lot of people. He also picked off an out and up for Devontae Smith by mirroring the route and boxing him out. I really like him. And when I was wondering why I hadn't heard of him before, and I did see my guy Dane, he was like, well, first round talent, there's some off field stuff. And I'm like, crap. But again, those are things I don't know. So I'm just talking about on tape, Kelvin Joseph, first round player.
First round player. I mean, Mel Kiper. You know what I mean? Mel Kiper. Who the hell's Mel Kiper? He put him in his first round, and that's what kind of raised my antennas. I don't always look at Kiper stuff, but then when I saw that you had mentioned him, I said, let me go look. It's hard to actually find tape online unless you got the tape behind the scenes. So hopefully some people can some people can push it out so we can see more of him. Another cat, I'm actually going to go with, I was going to start with Surtain, but you guys saw who the next guy would be here. I'm actually going to go to Caleb Farley, because he's a guy who, Joseph again, I guess, right? He's a guy who was actually a former wide receiver turned cornerback who opted out of the 2020 season. What you got on Farley, who is getting mocked to the Cowboys, I think, more than anyone?
I really like Farley. I think a lot of the guys in this draft, like, let me look at my board real quick. Like, I think Surtain, Joseph, Samuel, Molden. Like, I think there's a few guys that if you're just talking about like how well do they play the cornerback position on tape, I would say play it better than Farley. But Farley is the ultimate, like you're talking about Melifonwu. If you have a Farley pro day, I think he's going to run a 4.3. I think he's going to run incredible shuttles. I think he's going to have big jumps. And then when you just watch when going down the field and the ball's in the air, it looks like it's to him. He's not here. Like, he's not here for you to catch a deep ball on him, and he's not here to cover you. It's his. He's such a great athlete that can play a ball so well. And when you let him play press, it looks easy for him because you can't run away from him. I hate how much they made him play off coverage because it made me question him some. But even in the off coverage, you can see the twitchiness and how quickly he can get downhill. And so, he's a high school quarterback and an opt-out. So like he's young at the position, but that's an upside guy that you're picking at 10 because he's got the physical tools where you go, could you see him being Jalen Ramsey? And the answer is, yeah, I could see that.
Here's the thing. If he had played in 2020, I don't know if we're talking about maybe he's a top 10 pick or maybe he's top 12. I think it's for sure fire because think about it. When we're going to get through this list here, there's a tight pack between Joseph, Farley, Surtain, Horn. No one's really separated themselves. But Farley, I think, separates himself athletically over all those guys.
Yeah.
And he gets his hands on the ball as well. And I think if he did that in 2020, I think we're talking about a guy who gets picked in the top 10 without even thinking about it.
I think you're 100% right. I think that's what makes him cornerback 1 is there's 3 or 4, maybe even 5 guys in the first round mix. And of the guys who are the size that the NFL covets, he's the best athlete. And I don't think it's that close.
Yep. And that's exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not close, in my opinion.
I just rephrased your own words so I can feel like I was part of it. Yeah.
Let's see if I can get our next guy in here. Patrick Surtain. Let me see here if he comes through. Did he come through? Yeah, there he goes. Patrick Surtain, man. Patrick Surtain Jr., I should say. Junior because his daddy was good, but he's a junior here. 2020.
He's the second, sir.
Oh, the second. I'm sorry. See, what is the difference? Let me ask you, what is the difference?
I don't know. So my understanding was always that junior meant your dad had that name, and the second would be like maybe your grandpa had that name or something.
Oh.
But isn't Patrick Surtain, wasn't his dad's name Patrick Surtain?
That actually makes sense. See, my son's a junior, which made me a senior, but I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but Patrick Surtain Sr. is his dad. So that's why I don't understand why he's not junior.
You know, it's crazy. If you go look around the web, you'll see the second and you'll see junior. You'll see both.
All right.
You'll see both. It's nuts. Right. But man, so to me, the notes I have on him, I'll let you dive into all the notes, but the big word that's coming out to me is safe.
Yep, 100%.
You know, and I'll let you get into the technical side of it, but go ahead.
Well, no, I think that's it. I think with Patrick Surtain, the one thing that you're missing is the elite athleticism. But again, like with Samuel, you can tell this dude was raised to play corner. A lot of these guys are former receivers, former quarterbacks, whatever. But like Asante Samuel and Patrick Surtain were raised from birth to be DBs. And you can tell like his reactive instincts at the line of scrimmage, his reactionary quickness when a ball is tipped. He's a fluid dude that's big, strong, crowds receivers in their routes. He plays the catch point well. The only thing he doesn't have is the elite athleticism, but I think he has everything else that you could possibly want in a corner. So I think Surtain is as safe as it gets at corner in this draft. And if they take him at 10, I would say, okay. I'm kind of drawn to the upside of Farley, which is weird because normally I'm a floor guy, not a ceiling guy. But Farley's intriguing to me. But no, I mean, he can man, zone, awareness, good tackler. The Surtain he's safe.
I think it's so funny because Surtain in the middle of the season was like consensus. That's the guy we got to get. That's the guy, Surtain. But then as the season went along and as the Farleys came around and the Horns, because no one was on Horn back in September, October as the number one guy. I think because Surtain's so safe, people were like, okay, yeah, Surtain's cool, but look at Farley, right? Surtain's cool, but look how physical Horn is. Surtain's cool, but look at all these other fun toys. Listen, guys, if Surtain's the guy, be happy, in my opinion. Be very happy because that
you'll be getting a good player. It'll be a good player.
And I think he can step right in right now. And a lot of people are saying, here's one of the arguments I was hearing, which I can understand a little bit. You got Diggs, who isn't overly athletic. People are saying not fast, quick type guy. And if you get a Surtain, who's also not overly athletic, now you got two kind of subpar athletic corners going up against offenses that are going to roll out some fast guys. So I can understand that, but man, I just feel like, again, I hate to use the word safe, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
You want good players.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I understand too. I like the idea of having different types of athletes, even though like Farley and Diggs are both big guys. Like it's all, they would be similar. Just one's a better athlete. I understand wanting your other guy to be able to run better, where it's like, hey, we can mix and match. But either way, you want good corners because most of the league doesn't have them.
No, not at all. Not at all. Now, let me ask you this with J.C. Horn, because that's what we're going to go to next here. And you said that we'll believe it was Farley was your cornerback one. Is J.C. Horn battling for that?
I have Horn at 3.
Okay.
2020. I was talking to Vach last night, and he's fighting for Horn and saying like, hey, if you can fix the grabbiness, then he's great, right? You just have to teach him not to. But the physicality is such a big part of his game that honestly, I don't know how he would measure athletically, because he's kind of always glued to a guy because he wants to play press man and he wants to be super physical. I love him at the catch point. His Auburn tape is the best cornerback tape in this draft. And I'm a big fan of him. I love the way that he plays, but I think down the field, he's got to do more with his feet and less with his hands when receivers are breaking. But I love him in press. I love him playing man. I think he could play cover 3. It's just like with, who was my other grabby guy? Robinson.
Brown? Oh, Robinson. No, it's Brown.
No, you're right. Shakur Brown. Yeah, it's like that, except this is the full-size version where he will fight you. And he makes plenty of plays where he's not grabbing. Like you can watch him undercut slants and make really good plays. I like Horn. He's 3 for me.
I think Horn, and we had this conversation on the linebackers where I said there's concerns with Micah, right? But if Micah can, get better at those concerns, at what he's weak at, he has potential to be the best of the bunch because he's just ridiculously physically, athletically gifted and great against the run or what have you. He has a potential. Horn, if he can, do those things you talked about. Yes, Farley is ridiculously athletic, but Horn he's an athlete in his own right. And if he can get better at the grabby stuff, I think he could be CB1 out of this draft.
He could. I mean, I think there are 4 candidates to be CB1 out of this draft. I think there's 4 of them, and I think it's pretty close. And Kelvin Joseph, I'm going to have to figure out what the wild card things are that people wonder about. But yeah, I think it's 4 different guys that could be the best corner in this draft. And I wonder if we don't write off Surtain a little bit just because we're looking for something perfect.
Yes.
Like we're looking for the perfect player, and it's like, well, the best corners in the league are not the fastest corners in the league. So, we may be cutting him short a little bit, but either way, I think it's a good battle.
I think we're talking ourselves into Surtain, being a pick. I listen, McClay likes those blue chip guys. He likes those guys that come from the Alabamas and things like that. I got a feeling that, I'm just guessing here. There's no inside information that if we're going to go corner at 10, Surtain is probably their cornerback 1 because he's at Alabama, 38 consecutive starts, super consistent, just a good football player.
They love big school with lots of experience. You can see tape against great competition. They love that stuff. So I could totally see him being their top cornerback, and I could totally see the draft sorting it out for you with one of them being gone. And it's just like, which one's left?
Yeah. All right, real quick, I'm going to do on the late night hype, we do a hashtag late night hype. I'm going to do a hashtag OTC on the clock. Real quick, give us your questions, but hashtag it so I can get to them quickly. I actually have a pretty good question here from Steve Lupton, who just joined the membership. Shout out to you, Steve. Appreciate you, brother. He says, the real question, Jeff, is if all 3 top cornerbacks are on the board, who are you taking?
Farley. My order is Farley, Surtain, Horn, Joseph is of my first round guys. So if they're all there, I'm taking Farley. And if I end up wrong, I'll apologize later. At least it doesn't get me fired.
Nah, that's gonna get you fired, bro. That will get you fired. For me, if I had to do that, I think I talked myself into Surtain. I think I did.
CB1?
Yeah, I think I talked myself into it because I'm a floor guy right now. I'm scared. This defense scares me.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I need somebody that's going to come in day one and I feel confident. I don't got to worry about you. I do like the upside with Farley. At first, Farley was my guy. I'm like, yeah, that's my guy right there. But I talked myself back into Surtain. But again, this can change. All this is subject to change, by the way, guys. Like, hell, you never know with me. I'm a short guy. I love short guys. Molden might be my CB1. Nah, I'm just kidding. but nah.
I can change my mind.
I changed my mind. I did. KMT says, #OTC. Would Jeff be mad if we picked Kelvin Joseph at 10?
I'm not there. No, I don't want him at 10 yet. I'm so afraid right now because I don't know what people like Dane are talking about with off-field stuff. And it's because like his tape, does his tape look like it could go in the top 10? Maybe. I wish he were, we'll have to get official measurements. I do wish he were an inch taller and 15 pounds heavier, but I mean, he's a really good player. I'm going to say no. I don't want him at 10.
Okay. G10 says, is the better value getting a corner in the second and going Pitts or Darisaw at 10? Thanks, Jared in Ireland. Whoa, shout out to you, brother.
Hey.
Ireland. Good round of applause. Corner in a second.
You can get corners in the second for sure. You can get them in the third also. I don't need the team to pigeonhole what round, and they will do this. They love to pigeonhole their draft strategy. Like we're going DN, corner. They told us they were going to do that in the Taco.
I was about to say they
Gordon
did it.
draft.
Exactly.
You don't have to do that because I've got right now 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm at 13, and I'm probably still missing a couple of guys I got to watch. I'm going to have like 15 corners in the top 3 rounds. So I don't think you have to do it. I don't think I wouldn't take Darisaw over the top 3 corners. Pitts I will have higher than any of the corners on an overall big board. So if you wanted to, I ain't mad at you. Yeah. Even though you'd be like, goodness, how many weapons do you freaking need?
I know. I'm not going to be a hypocrite here, guys. If you listen to the shows a few weeks ago, I said I'm perfectly fine taking a corner in a second because it's so deep to me. I feel like it's deep in the top like 75 picks. I can get me a solid corner in the second round and be fine if I'm taking one of those tackles or they go Pitts. I'm not going to be upset because those, not Pitts, but the tackle is a need. Pitts is just icing on the cake in my opinion.
You can't get mad at BPA.
No.
Especially in the top 10.
No, not at all. Not at all. My guy Sosa said, #OTC. Jeff, are you going to be a regular on the clock series, man? Get locked in.
I mean, yeah, unless I get banned. Yeah, unless I get banned. I'm looking for, I made a folder for it on my YouTube page where I can just put each position group in there. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Steve said, almost said late night hype, #OTC. Will we be looking at a quarterback position in the top 4 rounds?
I hope not.
It's a whole nother.
I hope not. But it's just something that they're going to have to watch for the next month, 2 months, and see where he's at. And then you'll know, if they sign a long-term deal, then the rehab went very well. If it sounds like they're struggling with a deal and he's just tagged, then you might have some concern. And if you get to the draft and you haven't worked out a deal with Dak, then I think you have to think about it. And I wouldn't say in the top 4 rounds. I would say in the first round.
Or you'll get Mike McCarthy. He likes to pick quarterbacks every damn year. So maybe they'll take a quarterback in the 4th, 5th round just because anyway.
Maybe they should not let him pick the quarterback anymore. I saw the Nooch play, and that was the worst NFL quarterback I've ever seen in my life. He didn't even look like he wanted to be out there.
Fam, they had, we call him Glizzy Glock, GG, Gilbert on the sideline, who came out the next week against the number 1 defense and was airing that thing out. I'd have threw him right out there against the Eagles. I bet you they'd have won.
The Nooch looked so terrified. Terrified.
Brandon Boyce, #OTC says, who's your favorite second round corner? So maybe of that bunch we had, Samuel, Molden.
Samuel. My order in the second round is now. I think I'll also be able to say Joseph. I would say Joseph, the Kentucky guy, because I don't know if he's gonna get picked in the first round. So, but guys that I've graded in the second round, it would be Asante Samuel, then Elijah Molden, then Melifonwu, then Robinson.
Okay.
UCF guy.
My guy Swaggy says, #OTC, what safeties do you project the Cowboys can get in the second round? Now, I got to get you back on for the safety show. I have my guy Foots on here. I got to get you back on for your take on the safeties. But who's kind of your second round guys you got your eyes on?
Richie Grant would be my dream. Central Florida.
Yeah.
They got two great players in the secondary that I absolutely love. Now, my guy is Ardarius Washington, but
oh, that's right.
I concede to the world that the lightest safety in the history of the NFL Combine that's 5'8" will probably not go in the first round or in the top 50. But when he's a stud in the NFL and everybody's calling him Honey Badger 2.0, just remember that I liked him. So second round to me would be Richie Grant or Trevon. Let me make sure I get it right. Merrick. I always screw it up, but it's Merrick.
Listen.
So Merrick at TCU. No, I can't say that out loud. I can't. Merrick is not better than Washington. So Richie Grant or Darius Washington. I will not say the second best TCU safety is the guy I want to pick. I'd rather have the best TCU safety.
Let me ask you a question. What happened to Cisco? Because that was like the flavor of the month.
I hadn't seen him. I just seen people talk about him, and he's got so much ball production. I think he had 13 picks for his career.
Right.
My problem with Cisco is I bet you he's responsible for 15 touchdowns in his career. I've watched that dude give up so many big plays. Yeah. That is way too boom or bust for me. I've got him as like a fourth round guy because I'm terrified. And they tell me he runs a 4.3. I'm like, then how come everybody keeps running by him?
I forget which game I put on all 22, and it was a game he actually had a pick. But I'm watching, I'm like, he's kind of not coming down at the right angles. He gave up a touchdown in that game.
He misses open field tackles, and then guys just run all the way to the end zone.
All right, maybe it's just one game, but then I listen to you guys. I'm like, nah, I mean, this seems to be a common occurrence. I think what it is, though, is 13 interceptions. Remember the cat from Louisville that had like the all-time record or something? They had like 10 picks or something. I was enamored. I said, let me go look at him. Now, this was before I was diving into everything, but he got picked in like the middle of the draft, and he's like not even in the league, I don't believe.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name.
I forget his name.
And I'm trying to remember if I liked him, but I don't remember.
You see 10 picks, you're like, I mean, I got to like something about this cat.
Yeah, some years good.
Somebody got to be good. Hashtag OTC. Cowboy Mike, my guy said, JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or the top cornerbacks. Ooh, I know, Jeff, because that's
good
the pet
question.
Cat. That's the pet cat for me, Jeff.
Okay, if I'm trying to put the actual players in order, because JOK is my top linebacker.
Yeah, good question, Mike. Mike always comes to quick.
Golly, Farley, JOK, Surtain, Horn.
Then it would have to be Farley, then, right?
So I go Farley. Yes,
it's tough Farley, though because because corner is technically the bigger need because of bodies. We literally have no bodies out there. Yeah. But to me, Jeff, I've been preaching this since like week 12. I said, guys, I know we need a DT. I know we need a safety. But fam, I'm worried about linebacker. Extremely, extremely worried about linebacker. You got a 34-year-old guy who should retire and be a coach. You got a swiper no swipe me who likes to jaw at people down 17 like he's, swiping Dora or whatever. It's ridiculous. You got LVE who is basically the new version of Sean Lee. I'm worried. So if you're asking me, Mike, this is going to sound tough, but I think I go JOK, man, and then go get me my corner or safety in a second, and let's cover the hell out of people.
I do. Yeah, I do. I think I like my chances of getting a linebacker or a corner later than I do of getting a linebacker.
For sure.
I like corners better than the linebackers. So
sure.
It might make sense.
And again, all this subject to change come free agency. Okay? Because if you go out and you get you a corner, I like Mike Davis out of L.A., the Chargers, but I know they're not going to sign that guy. They're not going to sign no corner probably, but Cheeto. But even if you bring back Cheeto, right? Does that alter their board? They love to do stuff like that, Jeff. Where they'll sign a guy that can play.
It probably would, because right now they're desperate. But if you had Cheeto, and if you're saying more than a 1-year deal, you could still take a corner pretty early because Brown is on the last year of his. But you'd have Cheeto, Anthony Brown, Diggs, and that they'd be like, okay, those can be our 3 starters. And so they wouldn't. I don't think they'd view it as an emergency. Right now, it's an emergency. Otherwise, it'll just be we got to get ready.
Yeah, it's definitely an emergency. That's why I started off my free agent primer with corner because, dog, we don't have nobody.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have to spend money in free agency at one of these three positions: defensive tackle, safety, or corner. You cannot rely on filling all these positions in the draft, just like you're not going to rely on filling all those positions in free agency. So at least get one of them. And if you're going to do it, to me, I go with BPA in free agency. Hear me out, Jeff. If I'm doing BPA in free agency, Justin Simmons is my number one free agent. That's my number one guy. After that, there's some corners I like, but then you got Dalvin Tomlinson, who I like at DT. If you're not going to go DT, then you got to go in the corner. And there's some good ones out there for the perimeter, like Mike Davis, like I said, but go check out Mike Hilton, too, in the slot. If you want to get a slot guy and pay money, too. You don't like Hilton?
No, I like everything you're saying. I just want to throw in one name. I want to throw in Marcus May at safety, too. I'm a big Marcus May fan.
Marcus May, I thought, was the more realistic guy over Justin Simmons, but I got a feeling he's going to get buku bread too.
Yeah, and they will. And the Cowboys won't sign any of them because they cost money. And the Cowboys will get what they paid for. They'll pay very little, and they'll get very little.
I just don't understand. This maybe for another show we talk about it. Got about two more for you here. Is this Quest? He says, #OTC Jeff. What would it take for you to trade out of the number 10 spot?
Oh, not much. I mean, I would love to go to like 15. I would love
trade now.
Oh yeah, I would love to go to 15. Like have New England come up for like the fourth quarterback or something, and you go to 15, and I believe that gets you 46. I think that's their second round pick. I'd do that in a heartbeat because I think we'd be kicking around the same names. You know, maybe you lose one of the corners, but it's like, okay, no, I have to take J.C. Horn, and I got an extra second round pick where I can pick a safety or a D tackle or a linebacker. That's my dream, is to get down like 5 spots, pick up a second round pick, still pick a guy that's the same kind of caliber. Like you get JOK at 15 or JC Horn at 15. And your reward for getting that player instead of, say, Surtain is you also get Richie Grant to be your free safety with your extra pick. Like, hell yes, trade down.
I think because we got out of the top 5, the trade down talk kind of went away. But, guys, we're still in a good, nice, sweet spot to trade down. If you can stay in that top 15 to 17, I still think you're going to get a blue chipper, and you pick up an extra third-round pick or maybe a desperate team trying to get a Trey Lance, right? Like we were just talking about. Trying to get a Trey Lance, you get an extra second-round pick. So, yeah, I'm still trade down with you if we can, because there's not going to be one player at 10, I think, that you'll be like, I need to have him. I feel horrible if I don't. You'll still be able to get a Horn, or still be able to get maybe a JOK or whomever, or hell, maybe a Durasol if you're looking for tackle.
Trading down is the best.
Yeah.
You kidding me? It's my favorite thing.
Yeah. All right, last one for you, Jeff. G10 says, if Morick/Grant is going in the second, could someone like Samuel or Stokes be an option as a safety? Or possibly move Diggs to safety? No, we're not moving Diggs to safety. That's interesting.
I don't think any of those names. Like Molden could be a safety.
He could be your honey badger.
Yeah, Molden could be a safety because he kind of plays that way from the slot anyway. But with Samuel, you're talking about a guy who plays outside corner in college. That's what he plays. Molden plays safety-ish, where it's slot corner, but a lot of zone and some blitzing and some coming forward. So he kind of plays a safety-ish game. I could see it with him. I couldn't see it with Stokes Samuel could do it, but you don't move corners to safety unless they fail at corner, because corner is more important.
Well, don't tell Mike Nolan that.
Yeah, the Cowboys did that. The Cowboys pre Mike Nolan,
Jones,
with Byron, like why would you put the guy at the least valuable position out of the gate? That's so dumb.
And
you got to fail at corner for me to move you to safety. That's like Patrick Peterson. I want you to play safety because I think you're done being a good corner. That's when you play safety.
I saw that. I saw you did a mock draft with that option. I mean, I would love it, man. Patrick Peterson and Richard Sherman were two guys we talked about potentially moving to the free safety. Richard, obviously, because he knows the scheme or what have you, coaching Dan Quinn, and he's lost a step. Pat P's lost a step as well, but I think he has a bigger step than Richard, if that makes sense.
Well, Pat P is losing a step from 4.3. Richard Sherman is losing a step from 4.6.
That's a good point.
You know?
That's a good point. Uh-oh. The dog is saying, come on, daddy.
Oh, they hate me.
No, I love the day where he kind of, well, I know you didn't love it, but he just ripped all your stuff.
Oh, I loved it. He don't come in the studio because he's traumatized from it. Because he ran underneath the desk. See, like right now, my daughter dog just came in and he stands at the door because he ran underneath or walked underneath the desk, and the cord from my microphone caught him like right here, and he pulled it, and you can watch the video. What went first? I think it was my
Headphones.
And I'm just sitting there like, oh God. And then the mic goes, and he's pulling all of it. Mic cord, microphone, mic stand, and runs out the back door like he's been shot because it's all tied up around him. And it was entertaining.
That was very comical. It was like the stuff you see on cartoons where somebody just yanks you and your whole shit just goes. That was pretty much what happened there, bro. Pretty much what happened.
Shout out to Unknown if that thing that says super chat is real. This is a different form of chat. Hi, thanks.
That is you. $5. Shout out to you, Unknown. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I'm looking through here, making sure we didn't miss any more super chats. If we did, we're sorry. We wanted to make sure we gave you guys a really good show here for the cornerbacks. I appreciate you coming through, Jeff, as always, dog. And like my man Sosa said, let's make this thing, a normal occurrence here. I'll think about the next position group. I know Foots wants to come on and talk corners as well, so we'll see what Foots is talking about. But we'll wrap.
You're just going to do 2 of every position.
Hey, listen, we'll do whatever we do all the way up until draft day, dog.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it, man. We're going to do it. So I appreciate you, Jeff. Plug them and let them know if they don't know, which they should know, but go on ahead.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you guys. Just listen to 105.3 The Fan. That's the most important thing. Oh, and subscribe to my YouTube page and turn on notifications. And if you're watching on my page, make sure that you subscribe to Skywalker's, which doesn't actually say Skywalker, does it? It says Dallas Cowboys Universe. Is that right?
Network.
Stuff.
Yeah, I changed stuff. Just Dallas Cowboys Network. I promise y'all, as long as the tube don't draw, we be all right. As long as they don't trip, we'll be fine. Dallas Cowboys Network. That's where you can find me if you are on Jeff's channel. We're going to smooth over to just my channel here in a second. We got a giveaway to do. So before we let you go, Jeff, once again, appreciate you, good sir. And I'll rap to you afterwards. Go eat, man. I'm going
to make dinner right now, like right this second. All right, see you. Love you.
Appreciate you. Love you, bro. Peace. Oh, man. Great guy.